and I mean, we're using an estimate, the amount of gallons they're gonna use. So if we give them a price, it's gotta be per 1,000 gallons
Yeah.
or something, not $41,000.
No.
You've gotta break it down.
What I would suggest, if you were looking for something, is, and we'll put two caveats in there. First is that you say that the cost should reflect the engineer's analysis of the real cost, okay? And then it's just a matter of going through this analysis. The cost per year isn't going to change for the capital portion, it's only going to change for the O&M portion. So once a year, you figure out what the O&M number is, and that's your, add it to the capital portion, and away you have the number. And if you want to deviate from that, I would suggest that you do it by putting a percentage in front of the real cost number. You know, that number there for the 50% of O&M is pretty close to 90% of the real cost. So you might have water sales to the village will be 100% real cost as calculated in the engineer's memo, or 90%, or if you want to be a Santa Claus, you could say 50%, whatever you want to say. That's your job. But they're waiting to hear from you as to what the cost would be, so as they can make a decision whether or not to build their own treatment plant or buy water from the city.
How's the timeline looking right now?
They're looking for an answer.
Yeah, they're looking for an answer. I think they'll call Wendy tomorrow and ask him. Or do they talk to you? I'm sorry, that was a cheap shot.
What can we offer them? Do we have a recommendation?
My recommendation to you is either 100% of real cost or 90%.
Nothing lower.
From an engineering perspective, it doesn't make any sense. But you have the advantages and disadvantages there. You could rationalize something in your percentage reduction.
Did I hear you say at the meeting the other night that we also clean up a couple of dead ends?
Yes.
All that water in our system is a good thing for Rushford too.
Mm-hmm. I think moving water through your system, as Jeff says, you know, we've got a lot of material that's deposited over the year and stuck to the pipes. It can only help to flush that through.
And it helped the end users.
Yes?
I didn't say send it to the village. I didn't say that.
Write that down. Staff have a recommendation?
John, what modifications do we have to make to our system totally? I mean, to
Well,
facilitate this?
I would suggest that any modifications be at the cost of the village. So that would be a backflow preventer and a meter pit on the south side of your village. So they would, or south side of the city. So that would be a cost that they would have to logically bear.
That's fair.
Would you want valves or flush hydrant or some way to clean that? It's a long run.
Yeah, I guess I don't think that meter pit or that backflow valve should go all the way at the bridge. I think we just take the end of the system that they're going to connect to and put that valve and meter at the connection point.
That'd be the cheapest.
Yeah, why pick up extra pipe that you're going to be responsible for?
If you board, that'd be the cheapest.
Yeah.
And they're going to possibly have other issues from their perspective that we don't have on this side. So my thought is that there is going to be negotiations whether we like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to set the parameters of the general, and then whoever goes in to negotiate will find out what the rest of the issues are, and then you can determine how much you if it's 90 and 100, how much you vary in between there, or feel like varying. Did Mr. Davies say what their understanding of where they're gonna come to? I mean, does he understand that they'll take the water from where we, because I keep hearing that they kind of think it's gonna be on the edge of, right on our border of our city.
What I would tell you is that he has already done a calculation, and what his impression that he wouldn't share that with me, but it didn't sound to be completely unreasonable at the numbers that we presented at the last meeting, which are about the same as these numbers here. Now, that doesn't mean that that's what the village council will think. That's only his opinion.
Well, they just have to take the cost of building it and add the interest on the
right.
bond over how many years, and that's what their total cost would be, and they just have to do the multiplication.
Exactly. He had told me that he was looking at numbers around $44 and $46 a month, and our costs for city residents are about $32 a month, based on last year's figures. So I think that maybe brackets it for you as to what the additional cost, as far as he's concerned, might be.
Now, the connection would be right there at the bridge,
What
going
I-
across the river.
There's a hydrant. How far from the bridge is it? About 400 feet, 500 feet, Jeff?
Yeah, it's right there at the car wash.
This way,
Yes.
from the bridge.
Yes. And my recommendation to you is that they would own the line
From that point.
from that point, yes.
Is there any potential for anything ever going in that area where we would need that line?
You'd be better off going down Elm Street, the hydrant's right by the dike, and cross the river right there and then go and let them bore that way, because that'd be the closest spot. Plus, that's an 8-inch line, where the line coming down by the car wash is only 6.
I guess I don't really care where it goes. It's the principle rather than the one that you connect off.
At the joint meeting, somebody mentioned something about meeting in the middle of the river and sharing costs to the middle of the river.
No.
That's not gonna happen.
No.
Which bridge you gonna pick to call the middle of the river?
Would we ever, like Mark's question there, ever have an opportunity to provide a customer to the city boundary that would be south of the dike?
I would have a way for you to work that out if you wanted to. And just as we figured out what the value of the city system is that they would be using, we could do the same for your customer. That uses 400 feet of theirs, we could do the same calculation and back calculate it to them. That person would then would probably end up paying more than a typical city resident, or you would have to do some balancing where it all worked out to be even. But there's a way of figuring it out.
Essentially, they'll choose where they wanna hook up, either at the 6-inch or at the 8-inch.
Yes, we're not doing that for them.